All right, so we're in broadcast mode now, which means everyone, and we're starting to see the participants come on there. Super excited. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get everything started. My name is Sherry Bailey. I'm the Vice President of Connect Travel. And as most everyone on this call knows, Connect Travel worked with Jake Steinman and North American Journeys, and we acquired the RTO Summits last year at the end of March timeframe. And we couldn't be more thrilled with the partnership and how this has grown, and we're really thrilled to keep those events running and moving forward. We're in an uncertain time right now, so our RTO East event was pushed back. What will be rescheduled for later in the year. We were very excited to have RTO West, and many of you were at that event. But we wanted to, in this time, keep this conversation moving and keep individuals interactive and allow you the opportunity to hear from the RTOs themselves on what the climate is like out there, how do we move forward, and most importantly, how we as suppliers can help the RTOs moving forward and what they need from us. So I'm going to introduce our panelists. Certainly want everyone to know that this is a very interactive process. On the screen, you'll see a Q&A tab or a chat tab. Please feel free to any question that you have. There's also an area where you can raise your hand and let me know what's going on and direct us to the Q&A tab or the chat tab. We're here for you to answer questions, and I hope this becomes something that we can do in the future and have some more virtual roundtables so we can keep this interaction going while most all of us are at home now. So first, let me introduce Chris Ellis, CEO of 7M Travel and Holdings. Thank you for being here, Chris. Also, we have, I'm going to butcher your last name, Peio, and I'm sorry. It's that Mississippi-born accent that I don't have anymore, but my tongue doesn't work that way. So Peio Cuevas, close. The VP of Operations for Business Development for CUC Tours. Katja Jahn, Head of Destination Management for G2 Travel. And Tim Ulutin, from the Managing Partner of Incoming America. So we tried to get a nice cross-section of markets and throughout the US. And I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and maybe to begin, you'll tell us a little bit about the company, your primary markets, just as an introduction.
Yep, thank you. Thanks, Sherry, and thank you, Sherry and Connect, for arranging this. So 7M Tours, Receptive operator based here in Orlando, Florida. Currently in the office until 11 p.m. tonight, when we do have a lockdown, so we'll be out of the office working from home for the next couple of weeks. Our primary market is India. The company was built on the Indian Receptive side. We've been in operation now for 8-9 years, very strong in the Indian market, have an office in India as well, which they're on a 21-day lockdown, so they're all still working from home, as well as in Australia, Brazil, and in the United Kingdom as well. So main market is India, but we do branch out into Asia, Asia Pacific, Europe, and Middle East as well.
Thank you. And Tim, same question for you.
Hi. First of all, thank you very much really for this opportunity, Sherry. My name is Tim Ulutin, and I'm the managing partner of Incoming America Tours. What we do is we provide all type of ground services for the international groups visiting United States and Canada. So we have an operation in US, also in part of in Canada. And our main markets are, first of all, almost about for 50 to 60% of our business is from France. So we have lots of French groups. And also we do cater for some partners in Eastern Europe. So we have groups from Poland, Hungary, and Romania.
Wonderful. Peio, tell us a little bit about what's going on with you.
Hi, okay, so I'm Peio Cuevas. Thank you so much for hosting this webinar. It's gonna be great, I think. So yeah, I'm with CUC Tools. Our main markets are in Europe. Spain is the biggest one, and then we have some in UK and Italy, and Asia, and then in Latin American countries as well, right? From Mexico to Argentina. These are our main goals. We do provide ground transportation and hotels for groups and FIT.
Okay.
So working from home since 1 week ago in New York. So it's the first time that I dress up for this. So I'm happy.
Well, you look great. Thank you so much. And Katja, what's going on in your world?
Well, clearly I didn't dress up. I work for G2 Travel. G2 Travel is a worldwide group operator. We have 26 offices throughout the world. North America is a relatively new destination for G2. We're in the market since about 3 years with 3 offices throughout North America in New York, Los Angeles, and Toronto. And everyone is working from home right now because we're everywhere in stay-at-home orders. We primarily work with the Asian markets. Japan is our biggest market, but also Indonesia and Taiwan. But we also do service Eastern Europe because we have a large office in Bucharest, Romania. So we have groups from Eastern Europe, also Turkey, and all other markets. We do only customized group travel, so no scheduled tariff. It's only custom-based quoting.
Okay, wonderful. So we did have a quick chat come in for all of our panelists. They have their volume all the way up, but they're still having a little trouble hearing us. So if you could speak up, that would be wonderful, so everyone can hear the information that you're sharing. So I think the first question that I'll pose, that I'm sure everyone has, is how are you doing? And what are you doing right now? And I mean, I think ultimately all the way around, we're curious about that. Chris, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, certainly. Obviously focusing more on the India side, India is on a 21-day lockdown. The challenge that we have, and this is where we have to count ourselves lucky being here in the United States, somewhat, in that we do have internet access. I mean, when I'm home next 2 weeks as mandated, I'm not too concerned on internet access, although I have heard from various neighbors that because the kids are on YouTube and playing stuff, that when the mums and dads are trying to work, it's actually slowing everything down. Now, if you can take that to India, there's my additional problem. So whereas we are trying our utmost to keep our staff employed and busy, and I can give you details about that later, it is a challenge with the actual internet connection. One of the things a couple of things that we are looking at the moment is our product. I mean, we are doing a total revamp of our product, looking at what we're selling. We're looking at the images, we're looking at the descriptions of the tours we're doing, and that's where we need help. I mean, this is the ideal time for us to take a step back and go, okay, yes, we do tours that go to New York and Niagara and Washington, Orlando and Miami, but what else is there? What else can we encompass there? And then that's where we need help, because yes, we know New York and all those places, but what's new up there? Part of our India team was actually reaching out to the CVB's local offices in India to say, okay, help us, what do you have new in your destination, and give us that information. So really it's more of a cry for, we need more information, we need more images, we need more descriptions, please, so we can build these products.
Okay. And Peio, we spoke yesterday, and I think your world's changed a little. And as you're looking at things, you're doing more contracting. Yesterday you told me you'd contracted 6 people already for some of those new programs that Chris just talked about.
No, what we are doing right now is like, well, we are less people working
Right.
in the whole company, right? Not our customers are not coming. They cannot come from Spain, from any of the Latin American countries because all the borders are closed there. They react faster than other countries around the world, thank God. And right now, what we are focused is in the hotel contracting. Right now, in these days, specifically, we are trying to finish some contracts that we at one point start talking to the hotels, but you know that with this crazy world, we didn't have time to finish them. So right now we are closing up all the contracts and getting new product as well.
Okay.
Hotels for us right now in these weeks, for me specifically, are the main challenge. Yeah. So we are increasing our inventory.
Okay.
Also with the connectivity, trying to finish that connectivity that takes forever. That's what we are working on.
Okay. And Katja, are you kind of doing the same thing, or?
A mixture of it all. I have told my team to really focus on their relationships, reaching out to everyone, creating this connection, this often spoken remark that we're all in this together, and to kind of together come up with plans and timelines. We are not quoting on travel until beginning of August because we think that would be the earliest point in time when any groups would return. So August is our goal. And then we're doing the same as Chris was describing, you know, really looking at all of those projects that we never had time for as a startup with very slim staffing to begin with. We always struggled with, you know, all of these things that fall off the plate. So we're reviewing all of these right now, and we'll increase our marketing efforts, our training efforts, because as you can imagine, with 26 offices throughout the world, our sales teams are selling everything. So we as a destination now need to promote our destination internally. And this is the perfect time to really service them. So we're looking forward to doing that during this time.
Thank you for that. Tim, is it about the same for you? Any other things you're focusing on?
Our business model is based mainly on guaranteed departures, because we are offering guaranteed departures in the French market and also on the Eastern market. In addition to that, we do have some ad hoc groups and the group series from our tour operator partners. The most important right now for us is not to lose the groups that we booked for May and June, because frankly, I think that we will need to move all those groups if we don't want to lose them to the further down in the year, in the fall. So we are in the process of rebooking them, and we are working with our partners and with the airlines to be able to rebook them. Of course, it has a quite big complexity as we are working on the group travel. You need to find the seats, you have to we have to talk with the hotels, and the most importantly, we need to help mainly from the hotels to keep the same rates as it's already been sold. And we have to rebook the groups at the same rate in the later in the year, hopefully, which will be a great fall for all of us. Secondly, as we are working on the guaranteed departures, most of our 2021 dates are ready. So now all our staff, it's start contracting for 2021 and our group series in 2021. So we are working on that right now from home, everybody.
I can't see any of our supplier faces that are on this call, but you probably just made them very happy that you are contracting 2021. And just heard so happy to hear that with lots of exclamation points on our chat line, by the way. So my next question, and that's a great segue, is I wanted to ask what the suppliers can do for you right now. And it sounds like from hotels, you need to talk with them on rates, and if you're booking 2021, how can they get you information? What is the best way that suppliers can support you right now? Go, Chris, go. We'll go back to you, Chris.
I was going to say, let Peio start this time.
Oh yeah,
Peio,
because I want to add something about Katja and Tim was talking about. No, it's true. I want to add the relationship right now are the most important thing. For the reason we are talking more than emailing the people, right now. I think that is the opportunity to have get together with that partners that sometimes it's only a relationship with email. So we are doing a lot of conference like this one right now with seeing our faces. And also because, don't forget it, the accounting department is really busy trying to plan the accounts receivable in order to try to pay some people. And the providers, the suppliers are understanding everything, most of them that is not, maybe they must need time to do that, We need to plan that very well in order to keep our relationship going for the future. And also, I wanted to add to the team, what Tim was talking about we are trying to give credit notes to most of our groups in order to rebook the groups in the future instead of give the money back, because it's true that most of our suppliers are amazing in this time. They are not giving us any hard time, except some hotels that are more tough to work with. But the rest of the suppliers are doing very well. I'm so grateful. We are so grateful to work with them right now. Now is when you see our relationship is more than just the day by day,
And Peio, based on what you and Tim both said, one of the questions that came in are most people postponing instead of canceling their trips? I mean, I know obviously we want to postpone, and from a show perspective, we've postponed our shows. Are all of you able to get that to happen?
We have some of the groups, not so many, postponed. Like I have to do like 5 groups for this year that were coming in the next month. They postponed from October and November.
Okay.
But the ones that had postponed, some of them right now in these last days, they decide to cancel.
And Tim, I know you raised your hand. Can you share anything with that?
Yes, actually, there is a very recent legislation passed in France, and basically almost all Schengen countries gonna use that. What's happening that for the clients now who booked for the summer and for the fall, many are in the cancellation penalty deadline, and the French government said that the tour operators cannot actually exercise any penalties. However, they are not required to give back any deposits or payment the clients made. Wow. Instead, they are giving a voucher, let's say, or a credit note that they can use to rebook the travel within 18 months, which makes until the end of 2021. So, the tour operators in France, they agreed upon that. So what we are looking right now for many of our clients, we know that they will come back. And hopefully we are trying to rebook them, us and also our partners, tour operators in France, for the same year, for 2020. But there is also a possibility that they may prefer to travel in 2021, and we might need to rebook them in 2021 as well. And it's just passed this Monday, I believe. So there's a lot of uncertainty how it will going to operate. Our aim is to rebook everyone within the same season, but we'll see how it will go.
I guess.
Oh, sorry.
I guess I guess it depends on how much season will be left once everything is lifted. I see that there are a lot of questions coming where DMOs are asking how they can help us with referrals right now. I think that needs to be held a little bit until we know how the situation clears. The biggest problem we are all going to have with postponements is that now everybody wants to travel in September. Now, if I look at September national park availabilities, which is of course the biggest thing, that has always been dire for September. So if we're now adding all the pipeline from earlier in the year for postponements, that will be an issue. So DMOs, I think, can help by getting a clear grasp of their overall availabilities, talking to their hotels about where the distribution is and where there are time gaps, right, in availability in their areas, so that all of us can do this more efficiently, this postponement into whatever is left of the season, which we don't know at this point in time, what's going to be left of the season.
Yeah,
So is there, and Tico just sent in a question, do you have a percentage? Is it easy percentage to give of those clients that are canceling versus rescheduling? Doesn't sound very easy, Tico.
In the FIT market, most of them cancel, 99%. In the groups, I can say that maybe they cancel like 70 something, cancel the rest, rebook for now.
So more so on the group side is rebooking. They can push it further down the line. FITs are reevaluating.
Yeah, but for in our case for now, because some people who decide to rebook are asking to cancel.
Okay.
So one of the challenges that we had because obviously China went to lockdown first, so that meant that a lot of the Chinese airlines ceased to fly. So we had a lot of student groups, and remember that business from India will always connect somewhere because there's very few direct flights to the US, and Air China and Southern China Eastern always have great rates. Well, when they stopped flying and the rest of the world was still traveling, it became suddenly very difficult for these groups that work on very, very thin margins to get good seats on other airlines. I mean, yes, I would like to fly on Emirates, but the rate difference was so different that we were finding that they were cancelling because of the costs. And I think that's the challenge that we're then going to have. To Katja's point with the national parks, we're going to have with the airlines in that, what are the prices going to be? And whereas we're trying to make sure that everybody, rebooks or hold on to the deposit and give them up to the end of 2021, it's whether they can actually get flight seats at the price that they originally negotiated the rates at.
So along that lines, one of the questions we just had is, are you having success with hotels on need dates availability for fall 2021? Are you having success working with your hotel partners to get the same rate later in the year or even for next year?
It is an ongoing process, actually. Just we are in the middle of it. With some that we are very grateful that helping us a lot and keeping the similar rates and so on. And there are some other hotels that we keep working, let's say.
Well, I think everyone on the line knows what their challenge is now. If you're a DMO, to go back to your hotels and talk with them about it. If you are a hotel, to go back to your upper management and have that conversation. What are you, we've talked about clients rescheduling and rebooking or canceling, unfortunately. What are you hearing from your tour operator clients? How are they doing? Are their bookings, obviously if you're challenging on bookings, they're going to be challenging on bookings, but do you have any update from them?
Well, actually, in our case, we are working only with our tour operator, or our clients are tour operators. And they are basically trying to do the same, and they are contacting with their clients, the real passengers. And they try to either rebook them or try to convince them just not to cancel. And so it's really an ongoing process. And the whole question is when the flights will start between Europe and US. And now it looks like it's the beginning of May, but we don't know for sure. I mean, what if it happens in June or July? And so there is really a big uncertainty. So I believe we will need to wait 2 or 3 more weeks to see how it will unfold.
Okay. One of the questions that came in was from Choose Chicago and Paul. Recognizing that many of you are looking for new product right now and reviewing all of your programs and where you're taking programs, what's the best time to get you that information? Is it right now? Is it next month? No one wants to inundate you with information if you're not ready for it, because we all understand what you're going through. Chris, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so from our side now, we've got a core team that are literally looking at new product, another team that is actually putting the product all together, making sure they got all the images and descriptions. So I have a need now, send me new images. I mean, this is the ideal time, even for, and I think there was one question about how DMOs can help. I mean, go on to our websites and see. I don't know whether the Sears Tower, CN Tower's got new imagery, or the Statue of Liberty's got new imagery. I'm here in Orlando, and sometimes I don't know whether our own destinations here in Orlando have new imagery or new descriptions. This is the ideal time to look at people's websites and our websites, and for DMOs and suppliers to go, listen, you've got an old picture, here's a new picture. Checking logos. I mean, we all cringe when we see somebody's old logo, but now's the ideal time to go online. So for us, we want the imagery and the descriptions now, please.
Yeah.
On that line, one of the questions that came in was, as you're reviewing things, do you think it'll be national parks or more smaller areas that people come back to over choosing that large city that might be a first-time visit to the US? Do you see, or have you heard anything of large city versus smaller city, large attractions versus smaller attractions?
I don't have no idea about that question.
Yeah.
That's okay, you don't have to have all the answers.
No idea. Because also our clients, for example, they are trying to figure it out what they are gonna do as well, right? Right now, most of the companies send most of the staff to home or to the layoff with a specific plan in order to come back in 6 months. For example, in Spain, in 6 months, no, sorry, in 2 months. And they are asking about the rates for the next year already, I think, because they were so busy with the cancellations that they decided to do something new. Yeah, but I really don't know what is gonna be about the destinations and this kind of thing. As we were talking yesterday when we were doing the test of this call, I think that most of the countries must do a huge marketing campaigns in order to make the people come back. In this case, to United States. Maybe New York is not gonna be like before. We don't know. We'll see. No? I think that we need to create a force in order to promote the destinations a lot.
All right. Katja, were you gonna say something on that as well?
Yeah, I think we're all in a holding pattern right now. Any guess is as good as the other. Since we're not working with scheduled departures, we are getting the promise of rebooking at this point in time. But because nobody really also wants to commit on a particular date, it's really hard to understand how people are restructuring. I think it's a natural thought to think that the more remote areas would be more successful, or the more nature-bound areas would be more successful going forward, because there's got to be the lingering thought in people's minds that they need to travel safer away from the crowds. But then that throws up the whole question of, and if I look at the chat questions that Robert Graff just brought up, if we're now looking at confined spaces, what does that mean for coach travel?
Right. And part of that question, that was a great segue into Robert's question, is, are your tour operator clients, or are you, for that matter, reevaluating how you do your tours, how you do your business? Are there thoughts of social distancing, smaller groups? Is there a new procedure to have hand sanitizer? I mean, all of the things that we're dealing with now, being at home and going outside. Is there that kind of thought process, or are you looking to your supplier partners or hotel partners, to help with that? Does that move the needle when you're looking at a new attraction hotel destination?
Well, in our processes, we are doing only guided tours. We have actually two segments. One is the small group tours that we are doing with the driver guide option, with the sprinter vans, and also we do the large regular motor coach tours. And we put together I would say a procedure of, let's say, like sanitization of the bus, of the vehicle, and providing the hand sanitizer on a daily basis at the entrance to the bus. And after each visit, we will make sure that everybody's hands get sanitized. Those kind of small things that we are putting together, and it will be a part of our advertisement process for the next year tours, basically. And I think it's important that all restaurants and accommodations and attractions, that they provide those sanitizations more visible. Maybe they are doing right now, but to make it more visible to all visitors and the passengers, so they will feel safer.
Yeah, those cleaning guidelines have always been in place. I mean, we've in the bus series or tour series programs, we have always had to deal with bouts of certain viruses, where we had entire groups infected. So this is nothing new. It's just on a way larger scale. So the cleaning protocols and the disinfecting protocols have always been in place. And that's why we are really careful choosing our suppliers that can provide that service and is serious about that service. But I agree with Tim, now that just needs to be more visible.
I think if you look at what the cruise lines do, I mean, they do a very, very good job of it. Unfortunately, they've been hit rather badly, but anyone who's been on a cruise, I mean, when you go into any of the restaurants, you have the guy with the spray stuff there, squirting your hands. Every floor, everywhere has the sanitizers. And I think that's what is going to become the new norm in everywhere you go now.
Agreed. I'm going to circle back to marketing for just a minute. We all work with large attractions, large DMOs, small DMOs. How can partners work with you on marketing? Whether you have a small budget or a large budget, or one in between. Is there anything they can do specifically to help when we start marketing these destinations again, when things open back up? Katja, do you have any?
Well, first, to me, DMO and marketing material access needs to be easy. So I love everyone and anyone who has a picture and document library where I just have a link and I can go on it as I build my materials, where I don't have to spend time reaching out. So I think that goes back to conversation points that we had earlier on. It needs to be easy and it needs to be accessible now. As it pertains to marketing campaigns, in our space, not really that valuable because we're not producing brochures, because we're in the customized space. So that would be more for the other guys on the panel.
Okay.
I think the thing to do is let's start talking. I think at this stage, obviously we don't know when this is going to finish, but let's start looking at a year plan, whether that starts in summer 20 or winter 2021 or summer 21. I mean, that's what we need to be doing. Start talking of that. Agree with Katja with the online. The other side to it is if you have online training courses, I mean, they are fantastic. I mean, our operations team are here and in India. I mean, we've already reached out to quite a few DMOs to get their online training courses, and it's great because they can sit at home and they're doing it with their kids even. I mean, anything to get them excited. So if you've got training stuff, yeah, that's so much easier for somebody to learn a destination.
And I was going to comment on that. Not only that, Chris, but Katja, you said earlier that all of your offices around the world are spending some time connecting with clients and training. How can our partners assist in that training? Is it as easy as doing something like this just for a certain office or a training on a region? Is there something that we can be doing to help with that?
Yes, definitely. Once we have our plan together as to what we want to train on and which areas, we would reach out to DMOs and partners to participate in some of them. We are in the process of developing a training plan as to things that we've trained in the past that just need like a deeper dive and new areas. But it will take us some time to schedule these. Again, in the customer space, it's always very difficult to do this because our salespeople tend to want to have something that is purely applicable to them. So if you then do a free seminar with a DMO and they're only interested in a very small slice of what that DMO represents, you'll lose them. So it's very important that we, as their destination office, really define what that training entails, and that we're only bringing in what is really applicable to them. So sometimes it's well meant by a DMO who obviously needs to showcase everything they have because they're member financed and they need to justify representing everyone. But it's really hard to then get the ears and eyes of someone who's only interested in a very small slice of what you have to present. Okay. So we need to do a lot of pre-work to incorporate that help efficiently.
Okay. And maybe it's, obviously looking at what you're presenting, what you're training on, and right now maybe a regional approach would be right. With some options, outside of a larger destination or a region that you might be able to do many new things. One of the questions that came through was we were talking about rates and hotel contracts and moving into 2021, static rates versus dynamic rates, extending 2020 contracts to 21. I'm sure that's what you guys would like. after 9/11, Zika, you know, all of these other things that we've gone through on a much smaller scale than what's happening now worldwide, all at the same time, we saw value adds, we saw enticements, we saw percentages of discounts. You know, are there things that you're looking at? Are things that work better for you? Are there things that these supplier partners should be planning for when hopefully this ramps back up in May, June, July, that we're all hoping it's May?
Yeah, I think that the different things that you said are all right. Extended the rates for in the hotel parks, extended the rates for 2021. Forget about like we were talking yesterday, forget about the work cancellation. We need to be very flexible with the cancellation policy and with the release of any, not only hotel, any attraction or any destination, you know. We need to change that part because I really don't know how it's gonna react the market, you know. Are the people gonna start booking by themselves instead of using tour operators again, not like before, or are they gonna come back to us? I mean, yeah, and also I don't know, I will ask them about discounts, to be really flexible with these kind of things, try to negotiate a lot, any rate, and some add values, no? I don't know, in the hotels or breakfast or different things. Maybe we can be a little more creative right now in order to think about another kind of add values.
I think also the challenge is the staffing. I mean, if we suddenly have, you know, as we do every year, you know, new contracts for another year, it's that manpower to put all that information in the systems. Well, we're all leaner and meaner now, and it's so much easier if we can get a hotel saying, you know, what have you got in your system for 20? It's what you're going to have in your system for 21.
That would be great for
Yes,
for the product department. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really great for us as well.
Yeah, in order to start selling as soon as possible, you know, next season will be.
So one of, and this is the magic 8-ball question, the crystal ball question. You know, and right after China and Iran, when this first started, all of the tourist models were saying there's going to be a steep decline and then a quick recovery. I don't think any of us believe that's going to happen right now after it's grown so much worldwide. But do you have an idea? I think we all have a hope. We'd like it to start tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. So I heard someone say that they were really planning for May or June, you know, or August. Do you have any insider feelings on that, on when you might see some business coming back? We won't hold you to it, we promise.
I really think we're dreaming if we think that we're going to have buses running in May and June. I mean, we need to be realistic about this. July could be. I think August is relatively realistic. My mantra that I tell myself, obviously, because we have a big foot in the Asian market, is that I think Asia is coming back first. I also think that, you know, our position as a customized operator will help us a bit to fill those holes and provide and be that flexible partner that also hotels now need, where we maybe have the opportunity to also, you know, move around dates and weekdays and to be opportunistic for mutual benefit. But I don't think many buses will roll before August. And Europe is probably going to take much longer to come back. But there is an upside in this. I've always said the winter season in the national parks is beautiful. And there have always been good opportunities to do some of these tours. So maybe we all need to make an effort to really promote winter and winter imagery, scenic pictures of the West. And I particularly always only think of the West because that's my region. But maybe we need to do a better job about that. But I really think we need to focus August and beyond.
August and beyond.
Yeah,
Tim, would
I
you
agree.
feel the same way?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, August will be really wonderful if it really starts in August. But
Exactly.
we are making our plans more like September.
Chris, feeling the same way, or too soon to tell?
We also have to remember, depending on what segment you're dealing with. I mean, obviously the school holidays tend to govern a lot of travel. I mean, the same as it is in India as it is in Europe. That you're going to have that, July, mid-July, August time for a lot of travel. The airlines, I'm sure, I mean, at the end of the day, they're the first ones that need to get back literally off the ground. So as long as they've got their inventory and they're starting to fly, August, maybe mid-July, August time, then hopefully that'll be the start of it. I mean, I can't see that it's going to, there's not going to be a switch that everybody's going to be back on planes. It's going to take a time for this to happen. I think there's going to be a lag between when travel is able to be made again, and then it's going to slowly ramp up. But I think at the same time, you're also going to get a pent-up demand. I mean, we haven't even started lockdown yet, and although we've had our restaurants closed except for takeout only, I mean, I can't wait to go back to a restaurant on a Friday night as I always used to. I mean, it's that's that. So can you imagine all the people that are in these countries that want to travel or had planned to travel? There's going to be a pent-up demand, and what we need to all do is try and make sure that they do that this year as opposed to delaying it until 21.
I agree. But depend on how the situation hit each country, because Europe is, Italy is almost, I mean, the situation of Italy, Spain is same, France is going after, UK as well. We don't know when how are they gonna finish? And how is gonna be their situation, our situation also. So I hope that in August, September, but how are they gonna come? Right. What are they gonna ask for? Are they gonna come here or prefer to stay in their countries? Well,
I think, and I'm looking at the time. I promised everyone that we would not go over an hour, so we're getting close to that time frame. I think what we've learned is communication is key. We're doing a lot more Zoom meetings and webinars these days, so we can see each other and interact with each other. I was really surprised. I guess I shouldn't say surprised. It just wouldn't have been my first thought that you are contracting next year already, and that you're looking for new product. And I think that's something that's very encouraging for all of our attendees that are on this webinar, hearing from you that they can still work with you and create some product for their area or hotel or attraction. I hope that we can do more of these in the future. For all of our attendees out there, I want to let you know that this is being recorded, and we will have this on all of our social media channels. We will have this on our YouTube channel and our website, and we will email it out to everyone if you would like that link. I'm sure our panelists would say that they are here to talk with you and answer your questions, and from the looks of it, or the sound of it, really want information from you. So stay in touch. Let's do more of these in the future. I would ask everyone, including our panelists, if there are topics that you would like covered or areas you would like to hear from, please email me directly. and we will absolutely get this scheduled. So thank you to Chris and Tim and Peio and Katja for being our guinea pigs on this first RTO webinar, our first virtual roundtable. And I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you for having us. It was great.
Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.